G'day, I'm Aidan from KTECH and we've just pulled up at one of our recent SunPower Reserve installations, and we're going to get in there and I'm going to show you how to do the startup and shutdown procedures of your system. So let's go take a look. Alright, here we are at our SunPower Reserve system. Now any KTECH installed system, you'll find a startup shutdown procedure somewhere next to your system. Now when you're following these, do be careful, they're slightly different order of steps depending if you're shutting down or starting up. Now your system's nearly always going to be on when you're going through this, so we'll go ahead and follow the shutdown procedure here. First step, set the changeover switch to mains to supply loads from the grid. Now this is in your switchboard, so let's jump over to your switchboard and have a look. Here we are at our switchboard. This is our changeover switch here. We just need to switch him down to mains to bypass our inverter. Let's head back to the reserve. Alright, back with the reserve. Steps 2 and 3, switch off the main switch UPS EPS supply and switch off the main switch battery inverter supply. That's your two isolators here, so we'll go ahead and switch them off in their order. EPS and the mains. Alright, now for steps 4 and 5, we need to remove this cover on the inverter here, so your isolators and breakers are under here. So we'll just lift up and push back. Now under here, we need to get to our PV array DC isolator. That's tucked in the back here. It'll be clearly labelled and the off and on positions on it are also labelled. So we'll go ahead and switch that to off, and then we'll come through to our battery system DC isolator and we'll switch that off also. For our next step, we need to get to the isolators on the battery itself. They're located on this panel on the right. So to get this panel off, we just push back, lift out, it'll come away. Now you can see we've got another breaker here, so we'll just flick that off. And our final step, we need to hold this button down for 6 seconds. So we'll count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you should see all your lights on your inverter are completely off. Now we can go ahead and go through our startup procedure and get us back online. Alright, so now that our shutdown procedure is complete, we can go ahead and follow our startup procedure and get ourselves running again. So first step, we'll flick on that battery breaker. So this is just the breaker, and we flick that to on. Next we come over this side for our battery system breaker, and we flick this up, it should be in the up position to turn it back on. Back across to the side of our battery again, we need to get to that button, and this time we're just holding down for 1 second. You should see the lights on the battery come on. Very good, we can move to our inverter. So next we flick on our AC, first the battery inverter AC isolator, and then our EPS AC isolator. Now we jump back in here and we get to that PV array DC isolator. We need to flick that back down to the on position. And we're all set to get around to our switchboard for our final step and just put that changeover switch back to auxiliary. Alright, so back around at our switchboard, and our final step to get ourselves back up and running properly, we just flick our changeover switch back up to auxiliary. And that's all done.